Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the vlog. We are still in Massachusetts. I'm actually very close to an area that I was here not too long ago in Winchendon. We are now here in whatever this city is called. I think it's like Gardner or something like that. We're actually going to be filming something called the S.K. Pierce Mansion. This was courtesy of a booking from none other than Brother Frank TV. Unfortunately, he can't be with us tonight because they had to switch around like the times and whatnot. We're going to be basically filming this house from like 8 p.m. till about 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe 2. I have no idea. We are pretty much just hanging out outside, got all of our drone shots. This place is beautiful. I'll probably include a bunch of the drone shots at the end of this because it's just such a beautiful house to look at. It is reportedly very, very haunted, so we're going to be doing that whole investigation, trying to communicate with the spirits that linger in here. There's a lot of crazy stuff that has happened over the years, things that I can't even remember because there were so many hauntings. One of them being a bed that literally caught on fire while somebody was sleeping in it. The man actually died in that bed. Kind of a strange story, but is what it is. It did happen. I'm gonna go to the front of the house so you guys can take a look at it. It is very beautiful. Chelsea also did a really cool photo shoot, so go and check her photos out as well. Are you ready to get deep inside of her?
I'm so ready to get
so excited. So excited. Here she is. Very, very beautiful looking home. Love the widow's peak on top. Truly magnificent. But yeah, this is pretty much our last day. We're all heading in opposite directions tomorrow, which is very sad, but all of our adventures eventually do have to come to an end. And I think we've had fun. Did you have fun on this trip?
I did have fun.
Went to Salem and Boston and Boston.
America!
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 America! Alrighty. Oh man. Just a couple more hours to go and then we can get deep inside of her and enjoy her. Yeah. Alright. So freaking loud here.
I know.
Oh my god. The noise just doesn't end. Oh man. I hope it dies down tonight though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
I'm sure it will, yeah. But it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's just been non-stop. People yelling at Chelsea, being like,
I'm standing here like, hey, come on!
come on, man.
Come on, people!
What am I, invisible?
All right, awesome. So we will start. So my name is Crystal, and this is Heather. And we're going to be your tour guides tonight. And welcome to the S.K. Pierce Haunted Mansion in Gardner. It was built in 1875 by Sylvester Nolan Pierce. At that time, he was about 25-ish years old, and he actually, if you're from the area there where this liquor store is being built right now, there used to be an old white building here that had a storefront. It had apartments on top. So him and his wife Susan and son Frank lived in the apartment above there while this house was being built. Now, originally this house, there was another house that was on top of this area here. He had it picked up and moved down Union Street because he wanted to build his own mansion, which was obviously a lot nicer. I have seen pictures in one of our history books over there of what the original house looked like, which it was also a big house too, but definitely very plain and not ornate like this house is now. This house is 6,661 square feet, so it's pretty large, especially for that time period. So when they moved in, his wife Susan only lived in this house for 2 weeks and she passed away. So she had a very bad disease at the time where she had a lot of lesions on her hands, her face. It was just very painful. He actually, Sylvester had sent people around the country trying to find a cure for this to help her because he had the money to do that, and unfortunately he couldn't save her, so she didn't really get to enjoy the house. So he waited a year in mourning, and then he met his second wife Ellen, who was actually 30 years younger than him. And so that didn't go over well with his son Frank. He went on to have 2 more sons. He had Stuart and then Edward. So they had 3 boys living in this house. There probably was like around a 20-year age difference at one point. So this house, it took 200 men a year to build it, round the clock, and there's some cool features in this room. This room, before it was redone, it needed to be completely gutted. It needed the most work. Obviously, you can tell like by the floor, the ceiling, the lights, it's not to the time period in here. But we had a local cabinet maker. He made the cabinets here. He made the island. He also made these 3 shelves from wood that was found up in the attic. So he was like, don't throw that wood away, I want to make this for you. And so he made those really cool shelves. And then the sink behind you guys is an original sink to the house, to the kitchen. So that's pretty cool in here. And now I'm going to take you guys, and I also told them too, to stay with the group. And at the end, I locked the door so no one could wander in. Just let me know, and we're going to head count everybody out. Okay? All right. So we're going to go this way.
Yeah, this place is really cool. We're gonna have a blast tonight.
Mr. Pierce would have his Freemason friends over. They might have meetings in here, and it was kind of like a closed off area, smoke cigars, hang out. We have a Fiji mermaid over here behind you. She's very fragile. She's actually from the Barnum and Bailey Circus. And so it's part ape and part fish kind of put together. And it's got teeth and stuff. They're kind of creepy, but people like to take pictures with it. I guess there was a few original that were made. And Rob and Allison, the owners of the house, had her for over 15 years in their kitchen in their house. They live in New Jersey. And the wife was like, once they bought this house, like, oh, it's a perfect place. She can go live up there. She didn't want her in her house. Huh?
In the kitchen.
Yeah.
I would have shipped it off too.
Yeah. So she used to be up in like a closet upstairs, and people would open and things, and people would get freaked out. They'd open the door and you just see this thing still. You know, people would move it around, and it wasn't, you know. So in this room, you'll see a lot, like the woodwork is all original. You'll see all the hinges. Those are original to the house. They're very ornate. They're worth a lot of money. In the 80s, the house actually, the owners at the time, after it left hands of the Pierces, it went to Jay Stemmerman, who was like a kind of famous painter. There's a painting upstairs I'll show you in the master after of the house that he did, which is really, really cool. His daughter was given permission to have auctioneers come into the house, but she wasn't in the area, and she kind of just sent them here and was like, oh, auction off stuff and get money. But they came in and like took everything. And I don't know that they even got the right amount of money for stuff, but I believe that's when the billiards table was sold for $300,000 at that time, which was in the 80s, which was worth way more than the house at the time. Also, they took a lot of furnishings like chairs and things like that. So any of the things you see in the house, like these are all, not those chairs, those are from like Pier 1. But like some of this stuff is, it's just antique furniture. Obviously, like if you want to sit on like you can sit on these ones, there'll be something on a chair, like if you're not supposed to sit on it type of thing. But Sylvester owned the furniture. You can see his factory right across the street there. It's called Standard of Gardner now. It actually was larger back then, and he built the house here because he wanted to be able to keep an eye on his factory. Now there was also a tunnel under the house that he could go under the tunnel and go over to his business or his friends or people, and no one knew when people were coming and going. There were a lot of different things, like during Prohibition with alcohol and maybe prostitutes and different things like that, and they, you know, didn't have to take an account. Or, you know, a lot of famous people came here, like we were talking about, like Barnum and Bailey, and we have pictures here, like Betty Davis. She was a frequent flyer here. She actually went to Cushing Academy in Ashburnham. So she was here. We have like Norman Rockwell, who actually painted up on the 3rd floor, and the servants were, you know, so some of these people might not have wanted to be associated with other things that were happening in the house. There's a lot of secrets in the house. We have unearthed some of them, but not all of them. Some things we're still trying to figure out, especially a lot of the spirits that some of the staff has been seeing in the house. So I have not personally seen an apparition yet in this house, and I've been coming here for like 12 years. But I definitely was touched on the head last weekend in the basement. I've heard things, I've smelt things like that. So, I mean, as long as you're open to whatever, like you may experience something. Our last tour, people were hearing, like they thought they heard some children. One lady was smelling a lot of things in different rooms, like cigarette smells or cigars, or
We heard that scream.
we heard a weird scream,
Yeah.
which was strange. I don't think it came from outside. It sounded like it was upstairs. We were on the second floor, which was interesting. So we just ask you to be open-minded. So the other thing I wanted to point out, so for later, if you're interested, we have t-shirts and sweatshirts for sale. We take cash or Venmo. And then there's books too, which we'll talk more about, a little bit about the book when we're in the basement. This is Bones in the Basement. It's by my friend Joni. And it's an account of the house when Edwin and Lillian lived here, which were the owners before Rob and Allison, who own the house now. Now, Rob and Allison bought this house in 2015. They have never lived here. So no one has lived in this house full-time since 2011 when Edwin and Lillian left. They moved in about May, and by November they moved out with the clothes on their back. They handed the keys to Marion, our caretaker, and said, there you go, take care of the house. And they owned it for a couple more years because they weren't sure what to do or if it would sell. And then Rob and Allison live in New Jersey and own like a haunted carnival, like a dark carnival business. And they kind of bought it sight unseen and spent all this time redoing the house. The person that speared that was our historian Ken, who made this really awesome book, which I borrowed one from a friend of mine. I'm in the middle of reading it. It has a lot of documentation, information on all the people that, in one way or another were part of this house or ancestry, but it also has like old photos of what the house looked like before and floor plans and things like that, which is really interesting. So those are, they do PayPal or cash. It's $30 a book. Now, Ken put he was the one that spearheaded this whole restoration process, and he is from out near like Beverly area. He unfortunately passed away about a month ago of cancer. So, but he's the one that kind of
Got us going.
Yeah, he's the one that did all this. So, we do have photos in here if you guys want to check them out later. Some of these are photos that other people have taken. This is the photo I was talking about that's in the green with her granddaughters, and then this is a photo in the basement, which we'll talk about that occurrence. And then also the bones in the basement. When we're in the basement, we'll discuss more of that, but these are pictures of the bones. So I just wanted to show you that, and you guys can totally come back later and look at all that. So this is the main entrance of the house that you come into if you're coming to visit the house. And we have, this is the only
it's
original
spooky.
light fixture in the house. So it used to be gas, and now it's been converted to electric right
Cool.
here. His son Stuart over there, and then this is Sylvester.
Kind of creepy but cute at the same
And
time.
there's the second with Ellen. You can tell the age difference here. So she was 27. Have fun in here. They probably use this room a lot if they had parties, things like that. Plus, the other interesting thing is we are pretty sure that all the family members died in this house, but we don't have any documentation of that because it was so long ago. We only have documentation for one death that's upstairs that we'll talk about when we get up there because we have an actual death certificate. But all the family members were waked in this room, so their caskets would be right where you guys are standing right now. Okay, so even Rachel, like all of that, So that's interesting about this room. Also, if you want to come back in this room later and look at all the history stuff, so we have the original dumbwaiter behind you over there. And we had, when the renovations were going on, there was a lot of things that were dug out of the floorboards, out of the walls. So a lot of this stuff, it's different artifacts that they found. So, and some cool older pictures here. We have old wallpaper right here in this shadow box here, different little pieces. If you want to look at the genealogy history thing, you can thumb through this one of Ken's work. There's some other books there, and then we also have a blue bowl down here that Ellen was given at their wedding from her aunt, which actually belongs to the Gardner Museum in Gardner, but they let us keep it here as long as we're taking care of it and doing tours and everything like that, because it's kind of invaluable. And Heather, what was so the shirt was found in the sink.
Yeah.
So this shirt, it looks like a boy's shirt, was found in the sink. And then, where was the lady's collar found?
I believe in one of the walls.
In one of the walls?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some really cool features. And then after, if you want to look at that, that's some other information about some of the spirits in the house and some other cool pictures. So, just give me here for just a second. Sorry. Cool. So if you see this picture here, you can see, so it says a real estate agent was taking pictures of the mansion. She noticed 2 children in the mirror. So we believe that it's Gordon and Rachel. So there used to be a mirror
There's somebody else in the house.
in the bathroom, which I'll show you.
Marian's in the house. It might be her.
Every bathroom is pull chains.
Huh?
You just need to like pull it once so it'll flood the house.
I think it might have been
So
that
there used to be a
Marian.
mirror in there. Rachel liked to go in that mirror a lot and show herself, but there's no mirror in there right now. But you're welcome to come back and hear any of the areas later. And also say hello to Willie
Hi, Willie.
and Mortimer.
Hi, Mortimer.
They like to move.
Cool.
A lot. So Willie is pretty new. We just ask you not to touch them. So Willie's been here a couple months now. I think he came in the summer. Mortimer's over 15 years he's been here at the house. He likes to fly around. He likes to move. You want to tell your story?
Yeah, so I was actually doing a tour the night before Halloween, and my dad had actually joined the tour. There was only a few people left because they were finishing up their 20 minutes, and he was with them all in the dining room. And I was upstairs with a lady trying to help her find a shirt that fit, and usually he moves very frequently, so we're used to it. But my dad had called and said, Heather, he moved. And so I was expecting it to be like a little nudge or something, but I actually have the picture. His head turned completely around and was almost facing this way where I'm standing now.
Yes. So he does like to move. So we usually like to take pictures like in the beginning and then see, you know, if they're in the same position. Sometimes their arms move, things like that. Their mouths open or close. So this is the main staircase. If you go 5 rungs up, so right here, there's known to be a portal right here. So we'll tell you more about that upstairs after, a story that kind of goes with it. So with this portal, people sometimes feel like they could feel nauseous, they could feel like vertigo. We had like a famous basketball player here with his basketball shorts. His shorts were moving around. That's just me. And I had a guy on a tour recently that had long pants on. His pants were flapping from the wind. So you might want to try it out later. I suggest someone stand near you. You get to stand really, really still. You might start to sway.
Yeah.
So
We actually had a shaman come into the house, and he was the one that found the portal. And I actually had a couple of videos that I took just of sound, and it actually sounds like you're in a wind tunnel. So if you get a chance, if you're alone for, you know, even for a few seconds and you can record right in there, you might hear something as well. How'd she end up over there? I thought she was upstairs.
I just-
Down the stairs.
Oh, it is?
okay, come on in the dining room.
Cool. I'm gonna have some flappy leg syndrome after. Ooh. Yeah.
Come on in. The cool thing about all these the newspaper things is they came from the floorboards of the old building that was across the street. So Marion dug them out of the floorboards before they demolished it. So she stayed haunted too. Yeah, I did hear that was haunted. So this is the other fireplace. This was known as the dining room. This is the window right here where Gordon likes to stand and look out at the neighbors over here. And when Edwin and Lillian lived here, they used this as their living room, so they kept their TV over here. They'd hang out down here a lot. At that time, the furnace was a really old, like, black coal octopus type furnace in the basement, and it cost so much to heat this house they couldn't afford it. So they tried to stay down on the first floor a lot of the time. And one night they were watching TV and they heard a lot of shattering of dishes in here, and they went to check and nothing had fallen. So that was one interesting story in here. Trying to think if there's anything else in here.
One of the things that you guys will notice as we go through the rooms, so the lights, as she said earlier, they're not original, but all the emblems on the top, they are all original and hand carved.
Yeah, all the woodwork is original in the house. So it took a lot of work to get it back, looking as pristine that it does now. So these areas are really small, so I'm going to take you in. First is the butler's pantry, and there's a swinging door, and then it's the cook's pantry. So this is all original. The sink's here. The water is turned off right now.
I love this pantry.
I know, it's beautiful. And we also have the original spot here. There's for the dumbwaiter. So just be careful when you come down, because it's like a pipe to hold on to as a railing, and then like the stairs are right here.
I have a fear of stairs now.
Oh, jeez, bro. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
This is where I got touched up. Yeah, right? When I came down.
I know, so we're going to come in into the summer kitchen first.
Oh my god, my eyes.
Yeah, I know.
It's painful.
I'm going to show you guys a cool picture. So this picture was actually in this window a few weeks ago. And I saw the original on the woman's phone. The neighbor was sitting out there smoking early at like 6:30 in the morning. Took a picture. It's actually on the Facebook page of a black figure, and you could actually see in her picture, I could see the intricate white lace that she was wearing. So this is known to us as the lady in white.
And that was when?
This was a couple weeks
That's
ago.
right.
Wear my white dress.
And,
To bring her out.
lady in
Be
white,
like,
and
I'm in
usually
white
she's
too,
up
come
on
join
the
me.
third floor. And our maintenance guy, Eric, was not happy that she followed him down to the basement while he was doing work to winterize. He's like, go back to the third floor. So that's her. So she was right here. So you're standing in the summer kitchen. This is the kiln. They would fill it with wood. They would have big pots of water. There used to be, we just had work done in the basement. So we have French drains that they put in all around the basement recently. We had a big soapstone sink right here. It was huge and really heavy. And so they would take this water, dump it in the sink. They could wash dishes down here. They could wash laundry down here. I believe there was probably stoves down here too at some point. So that's what they would do down in this room, and it was cold all year round. And so the big deal about this is when I was talking about bones in the basement. So when Edwin and Lillian lived here, she ended up becoming possessed by something. So one day Edwin found her down here and she was digging, and at that time there was a lot of ash still in here, and I remember when there was still a lot of ash in here. It's been cleared out now. You can check it out after. But she was digging and kind of in a trance for a while, and she pulled out bones. So she's like, I don't know, what are these? Are these animal bones? What are they? And one of them had a doctor's appointment the next day, and they're like, I'm going to bring these to the doctor. So they had a doctor's appointment at the local hospital, at Haywood Hospital, and brought these bones, and the doctor's like, where'd you get that? And they're like, my basement. You know, what is it? And they were like, oh, it's a pelvic bone of a 16-year-old female. So they're like, oh. Apparently they also found some pieces of like fingers, like finger bones in there. And also like women that used to wear pantyhose and you have clips on, you know, to hold them up, they found clips in there and stuff like that too. So anyway, the TAPS came and did investigation or did filming, something like that. So Jason Hawes asked if he could take the bones to New York City to forensics and see if he could get information on them, but we had not received them back, and this was over 11 years ago. So we'll see if we ever get them back or not.
Wow.
But we're hoping for a little bit more information. So there are pictures of them upstairs, but I've never actually seen them personally. But it's pretty interesting. We just don't know who they actually belong to. Was it that lady in white? Was it someone else? And we'll talk more about the mysterious things when we're up on the 3rd floor. Some more information about that. I swear I just saw some, like, I don't know. My eyes are just playing tricks on me, maybe.
When we were in the women's parlor, I got this wicked.
No, I looked quick and I felt like I saw a figure out there, but it could just be the light. So this is the original, you know, the dumbwaiter from the basement. So this area where Heather is was a cistern before. So you can see the pipe. So if you don't know what a cistern is, we have one on the 3rd floor, which is more, it was intact. So they would collect rainwater on the 3rd floor into this big vat. And then there were certain pipes that went through the house. They had special little areas that they would turn. I'll show you on the 2nd floor with a tool, and that would make the water come from the 3rd floor down. So the 3rd floor is where the servants lived. So they had washing rooms up there for themselves. And when they were done with water, they could drain it down here too. And right now it's just being used as storage. They cut into this. And yeah. So you're free to open this up after. It's pretty big. And then I'll show you when we're on the 2nd floor where it goes to. So they could send up food, they could send up laundry, whatever they needed to, because the servants were all down here working all the time, because there were over 20 of them. Also above that doorway up there, you can see little tags from a certain room. You would know where they needed, where the staff needed.
So if you guys look over here, you'll see a cement wheel. That's actually an anchor weight. If you notice on the left side of it, there's actually a hook. And what that would have been used for would be to carry heavier objects up the stairs, because back then they didn't have dollies and, you know, things like that like we have now. So what would happen is they'd attach a chain to it, and that would act as a weight, and they would be able to pull whatever it is up the stairs. One of the things that they used it for was, we actually have Ellen Pierce's original safe that managed to stay in the house because it was too heavy to be taken when those people were trying to take everything else of value. So we have the safe home where it belongs.
Oh, I see Marion sitting up there. I was like, who is that? Who's sitting in that chair? Okay, so this stairway is the one that goes up into, this is the servant's stairway up to the kitchen, which is the door in the kitchen that's closed. It has like a little bell on it. But everyone else would use the main staircase that we're using.
Do you remember there was a movie called Get Him to the Greek? Did you ever see it? Oh, he rubs the fuzzy walls.
It does make you do
We're in the bedroom. This was Ellen Pierce's bedroom. There's a picture of her, again, over on that back wall area over there. People bring her perfume. She loves perfume. She does not like people in her bedroom, so you might get weird feelings in here. Red was her favorite color, so every time this room has been redone, it's been red. People often see her wearing a red flowy dress. This room has 2 closets. One was a washing closet and one was a clothes closet. When she passed away, she had carcinoma, so that's how she died. We believe she died in the house, and yeah, this was her bedroom. So you'll see on the doors we have numbers, because at one point it was an inn, then it was a boarding house. And one of the stories going around is that a prostitute was in this room with a man and he strangled her and then put her in this closet and then escaped before anyone found her. So that is one of the hearsay things, but we don't have real information about it. A lot of people, I don't know if anyone has any feelings in this room, people that feel out of breath in here, feel heaviness in their chest, lightheaded. We actually had a man pass out like 2 weeks ago, and they had to call the paramedics. He just flopped right onto the floor. So we've had a lot of things in this room.
Well, he went from the basement to the here, so you know.
Well, he actually, I guess what had happened was when he entered the room, he actually had a very crazy, just cold chill come over him, and then he just completely passed out. And I guess when he had passed out, his wife or his partner, whoever he was with, actually heard a woman's voice in her ear say, "I don't want them in here."
Wow.
Yes.
Sweet.
So
But
a lot of people get things like that.
But he completely champed it out, got cleared by the EMTs, and finished the tour.
Was a door here that went into the bathroom. This was here too. This is just like a little storage cabinet we keep nips and cigarettes in. And originally this door that leads to the bathroom now used to be a closet. So, we think his bed was probably in this area because he could look directly to Ellen's room and call her if he needed her, because they did not share a bedroom. So, hey, you want to come to my room, or hey, go back to your room. So here are the two speaking tubes, one that went to the nanny's room and one that went up to head butler's room. If you want to try it later, it does work with the nanny room, but it's best if you shut the doors. Here's the other fireplace in here. And should I tell them about Edward? When Edwin lived here, he went at 3 o'clock every morning. He would wake up to a woman crying, and he could see an outline of a woman outside that window, right where you are. A woman crying out there. And also, there's been a disembodied head that moves.
He likes to come from this wall, go out the window. We have no idea who he is. He's just, what was it, the tower? Crystal was actually doing a tour one day, and somebody that was up there was spending his last 20 minutes up there, and he actually seen a disembodied hand coming up the staircase. And
And he was the only
stairs.
one upstairs, like on the whole 3rd floor. He ran down to the 2nd floor where I was. I was like, what happened? So, definitely interesting things. Many years ago when I was doing an investigation here, a few of us were in this room, and there was a man with us, like a bigger guy, like kind of, you know, he just seemed like a big guy and like strong, and he got scratched on his back while we were in this room, like, and it was a fresh big scratch, like at the time, and it was, he doesn't know why he got scratched in here, but that was another interesting thing in this bedroom. So now we're gonna go through and go up to the 3rd floor.
Is the room Lillian was in when she was stuck on the bed?
Yes, yep.
Let's see what happens.
I mean, if anything, I might just fall down these stairs at some point, because, you know.
There's some way, dude. It just keeps going up.
Yeah. Does it go up more? Wow.
You
It's very spacious up here. This is cool. Oh, it feels weird up here. My head got like really light.
So this is the cistern for the upstairs.
Oh, wow.
So the rainwater
That's
will
crazy.
collect fill. There's also writing on the wall that's been preserved that we think had to do with like an arranged marriage. We're not sure who it was for, but it has the date 1902 and it has Mr. Pierce's name on that wall if you want to check that out
That
later.
was when the Irish people came over and were indentured servants too. So, who knows?
Right. So the servants lived in this quarter of this area. They used to hang laundry up across. There are probably many bunk beds in here. The reason why there's no beds in here right now is because they're going to look for someone to live here when we open it as a bed and breakfast, to be like a caretaker that sleeps here overnight in case there's problems. It's a Halloween decoration. He's not plugged in right now, but he does talk and move.
That's horrible.
It's very scary. When I was here Saturday night, I had a girl.
Oh, what the fuck is that? That's sick. That's creepy. Imagine that thing just popping out in the middle of the night.
I know, right?
Okay.
So this room is the billiards room. This is where the number 9 key fits in. So the door would be locked all the time. He would have the key, Mr. Pierce. He could shut the door, he could lock the door from the inside too. So it worked both ways. So at one time there was a big billiards table, the one that sold for $300,000, probably a poker table. So his friends would come up here after work, they would all hang out. It was kind of like the secret society type room, is what I would call it. The reason why we do not like this room is because this is called the rape closet. So many psychics have come in, they will not step foot in that closet. They have seen a twin-size bed in there that's bloody. They've seen a woman hanging with rope. Women and children, boys or girls, were brought in here and raped. We don't know if some people died in there. Maybe they brought them down and burnt them. down in the basement, you know, cremated them. When they've had EVPs, you hear children crying out for help, women crying out for help. This closet was made for this reason. It's a lot bigger than any other closet in the house. So this is a secret of the house that people didn't know about. So.
This closet, this room in general is where a lot of big gamblers for their time would come from out of state. Very famous people would come into this room, gamble. As we said before, they were part of the Freemason Society, so that would be another reason they would use the tunnels, is because it wasn't exactly a secret in the higher ups what this house was known for. So that's something they would use the tunnels for, so that way they could keep their privacy, they could keep, you know, their stature in the world, and nobody would know that they're coming in and out of this house.
So we've had people recently be in there. I had a man last weekend and he heard something whisper to him to get out. So a lot of things like that happen in there. People getting a lot of voice recordings of
We got
things.
growled at or shut the lights on.
Yes, we got growled at the first night. We did the last tour of the night on the first night we opened, and we got growled at in here. So, yeah, no joke. So this is our least favorite.
Really heavy say.
Yeah. So this is the end of the actual tour part. So now you're allowed to go up in the cupola, 5 people at a time. There's no handrails, and you might want to use your phone as a flashlight to go up. There is a blue light on up there, but it really only fits like 4 or 5 people comfortably.
Alright guys, we are checking out the cemetery here. Whoa! Marion was nice enough to drive us over. I don't know. Oh, you saw a spirit?
Yeah.
Cool. Hello spirits. We out here checking out the Pierce graves. Of course it's the tallest one. It has to be the tallest one, right?
I was here about a month ago.
Yeah.
But this is the Pierces, this is Edward,
Oh
his
yeah.
wife Betsy, Rachel, the 2-year-old that's in the house,
Hmm.
and the other one.
Well.
Wow.
So I wonder like how they buried them. Is it just like here, here, here?
This is the second wife. Then you got SK.
Yeah.
And then Susan, his first wife.
Hmm.
So are they buried inwards? Like
They
on
go
that side?
that way. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Alright.
76. And then she died. He finished the house in 1875.
And then she died
And she
like
died
soon
2 weeks
after.
later, yeah.
Wow. Barely even got to enjoy it.
It's a cute one.
Just lock it.
It's a little REM pod.
Yep. She accidentally flagged me when I thought it was somebody there.
Anybody here with us? Anybody else around, Chels?
I only saw the one person.
Hmm.
Where'd you see somebody?
I was over there. I don't think it had any relations to do with
Dead or alive?
dead.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, right when you said that.
Right when you said that, yeah. Oh, careful, don't fall.
I don't want to be a statistic. Oh, control.
Oh,
Oh.
control.
Are you part of the Pierce family? If you are, why don't you touch the cute little sloth?
They're here to see your house.
We're gonna spend some time in it tonight.
Came a long way to see it.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Canada and Nova Scotia.
From Tirana. You ever been to Ever been to Toronto? There you go.
Oh,
Maybe
thank
they've
you
been
so
to Toronto.
much. I hope you don't mind. We're going to be exploring your home tonight. If you're okay with that, can you touch that again for us? Please and thank you. Uh-oh.
I protect the place.
No, really?
Yep, I protect the place.
You can.
After you said that.
They also say to be respectful.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to be respectful. We just want to communicate with you guys and, you know, maybe we can have a conversation. I definitely feel like I'm being watched now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are in a cemetery.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, we're not alone, that's for sure.
all right, well,
Very
we
big.
came in. That's direct
Definitely.
contact right there.
Yeah.
Start.
Cool. Chels, was it like right beside that statue one?
Where I saw the first person?
Yeah.
No, it was right in front of you.
Like right here?
Yeah, behind over there.
Oh, because I thought I saw someone like standing right there.
Probably was.
Yeah. Like to the left of where that statue is, yeah. Oh, that was interesting. Cool.